Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. It's Preacher Mars, host of the SOS, the Shout Out Show. Hope that you're having a wonderful Wednesday. September 25th, 2018, many of you, like myself, watched comedian, philanthropist, business person Bill Cosby be marched off to prison. He got a guilty verdict. They gave him 3 to 10 years. And honestly, a lot of us thought we weren't going to see him again, or per se, he was going to die in prison. Just recently, his pardon, his request for a parole, was denied. He came up in front of the parole board. They denied it. And he was still defiant. He was not doing anything to, I guess, sorry about that. He was not doing anything, to show remorse or anything like that. He maintained he was innocent. That's his prerogative. Then my phone started blowing up. Cadre of calls, texts, emails, letting me know that Bill Cosby's conviction had been overturned by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. They basically said that Bill Cosby was not given his due diligence or due process, and basically a deal that had been made that would secure him not being prosecuted. Flip forward. Many of us have gone through a lot of emotions regarding Bill Cosby. A lot of you, like me, we grew up watching Cosby. And if we didn't grow up watching Cosby, our parents watched Cosby. He was a safe guy that you could put your kids in front of for TV. He had some, rocky moments in his later life. We all remember the pound cake monologue that he gave, and a lot of people felt like, hey, Bill, you're being kind of rough on people, you're being judgmental, and we got through that. I remember his book, Come On People. And I was like, man, come on, man. You can't really say that to people. And he just had a high expectation of what he wanted Black people to be. We're all entitled to our opinion. But then he gets brought up for a charge in 2004. Ironically, I believe I was in the same city. I saw Bill Cosby in 2004 in Philadelphia going to meet Kenny Gamble in South Philly. As a matter of fact, we were there for a show for Allah Made Me Funny. That's a whole different story. He wasn't the nicest guy. He was very didactic towards me in terms of being a comedian. Do you cuss? Do you use the N-word? I mean, I'm like, wait a minute, what does that have to do with, hey, Mr. Cosby, I'm a big fan. I'm a comedian too. And don't get it wrong. As a child, I really liked Bill Cosby. His work that he did with Sidney Poitier was just fun stuff to watch. And I still watch it today. I'm not going to lie. But the charges that came with Bill Cosby, brothers and sisters, you have to understand that it did bring questions. Because it wasn't one person. It was over 50 women that came forward and said that Bill Cosby did this to me. Now, you know me. Well, I know you. We're thinkers. 50 women come before. It's not even 50 women. We go, he did it all. It's like, how are you married and you are with all these women in these places by yourself and your wife is nowhere around? Now, let me throw something out here. And it's not in defense of Bill Cosby. The reality is, in the Hollywood business, is you go into the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and even the early 90s, anything went. And I think it's hypocritical for me or a whole lot of people in the entertainment business to say that somehow Bill Cosby was a freak. No, he was allowed to be a freak. The environment catered to it. The drugs, the women, the dope, the power drove all of that. Now, let me throw this out here. That being said, brothers and sisters, doesn't mean that you can violate a woman's rights. Doesn't mean that you can assault somebody. Doesn't mean that you can drug somebody. Putting that out there, what we saw today, nobody won. While Bill Cosby's been released, his life is never going to be the same. These 50 women, their lives are never going to be the same. the judicial system will now come into question, if you will, about how the system works for this group of people and not that group of people. You see, Bill Cosby was released, you know, he did 2 years, a little under 3 years, right? Brothers and sisters, are you aware that they have people in Philadelphia alone who have done almost 34 years for crimes that they never committed? So my thing is, while I see the Cosby thing, why is it expedited? Why are we still talking about guys in the Philadelphia area doing 27 and 33 years for crimes they clearly didn't commit? So I question the justice system. If you want to be mad at Bill Cosby, you can be mad at Bill Cosby or disappointed at Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby worked the system because it allowed him to work the system. The rage and disappointment that people feel will be tethered by the fact that there are generally people who are depressed and have lost confidence in the system that's meant to protect us. We always say these things. I know I bring them up and I'm repeated about we got to rewrite the damn Constitution. This is the case, brothers and sisters, of critical race theory. Ponder this. If Bill Cosby were white and this happened, we would be up in arms. We would be losing our freaking mind. You hear what I'm saying? We would be out there. We would be protesting. Bill Cosby wasn't white. Bill Cosby was black. Bill Cosby was from us. And that silence that you hear is generally that we are conflicted about this whole entire thing, much the same as we were conflicted about Bill Cosby being convicted and an 80-some-year-old man going to prison for what looked like the rest of his life. We're going to talk about this. You can make your comments and things like that. I don't want to go too long. I'm going to go ahead and start the show. But there's a lot to unpack here. So stay tuned and stick with us. It's Preacher Mar's Shout Out Show. Let's get it going. We're back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, listen, we're going to kind of keep this thing tight today. If you come to the show for the first time, welcome. We appreciate you. You're not just a part of the Shout Out Show family yet. You got to come back, and you got to get in that comment section and let us know who you are. We're not just giving it out like that. It's number one. Number two, if you want to express yourself, get in the comment section. But I'm also going to say, keep it classy, keep it relevant, but keep it classy. I know there's a lot of emotional baggage and a lot of emotions flying about the topic matter we're about to talk about today. I'm going to do my best to kind of keep it in a box as best I can for myself and actually for the viewers as well. I'm going to give you as pragmatic and understanding of what just happened. And, I hope that you appreciate it. I hope that you give me leeway with some things, and I'll try to keep it to this point because it actually does connect with a lot of things beyond Bill Cosby. Okay? So listen, if you're tuning in the first time, this is the best part of the show right now. This is when I give the shout out to the stars in the building. I say that I am, of course, the host of the show, but I'm not the owner of the show, though. This platform belongs to the viewers, belongs to the community. This is a communal effort. The communal effort is fueled by the Shout Out Show family, Shout Out Show soldiers. So I'm going to bring them up right now because I know they have a lot to say, and they support me in this, and I support them. Let's get our family up here. First, we got Sister Reed. What's going on, Sister Reed? Now, sometimes you put this up, I'm like, is that you or is that Derek? I'm not sure. But I'm going to say shout out to you, Derek, Dwan, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're feeling better with that tooth. I know I thought about you as I was going through brushing my teeth this morning. I said, ooh, I wonder if Reed can chew. But I hope that you're feeling better. And if not, let me know. I got plenty of dope I can share. Okay. Next up, we got my little brother. Johnny L. Thomas, better known as JT. You know, it's ironic. We were talking about uh, the idea of being a dissident from yesterday's show, just talking about it. And it's mad, it's crazy. Between that time and this time, Bill Cosby goes free and Donald Rumsfeld passes away. How about that? Peace and blessings to his family. He probably was watching CNN when he saw that Bill Cosby had been released. That just did him. I don't know. Peace and blessings. We whoever it is, you know, when you lose family, it is what it is. We all come from Allah. We all return from Allah. All right, JT, feel free to jump in on this, man, because I know we've talked about this whole Cosby thing as well. So, next up, Adam Khan. Boy, the gang's all here today. If you're gonna have a discussion about Bill Cosby, you've got the people in the building. All right, what's going on, Adam Khan? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you as well, too, brother JT. Adam, thank you for coming on the show, man. Appreciate you making the jump. I know you have things to do. Thank you for spending your time with us, my brother. Next up, man, what's the show without the Canadian ambassador to the Shout Out Show, brother and sister, brother? Altaf Rashid, 6 o'clock, straight up, straight down, always here, making sure that the quality of the show balances out here on the U.S. side and the Canada side. Altaf, good to see you in the building. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you, my brother. Next up, we got Sister Satana, who is sporting a new permissible laughter logo, brothers and sisters, and we will assume we putting that at the end of the program since Facebook and YouTube are the devil. And did I say the devil? I think you could say the devil. I think if you say white devil, that's when they shut everything down. I'm just gonna say with the devil. Okay. In any event, it looks good, Satana. Thank you so much. We'll be dealing with that a little bit later. Who else we got today? Okay, well, let's get to it, brothers and sisters. Bill Cosby is free now. What? Well, let me tell y'all something, brothers and sisters. 10 some years ago, Bill Cosby cut a deal. Okay? He cut a deal. He cut a deal with a DA. I think it's Castor or whatever. But he cut a deal with the DA, and the DA basically said that this story that this charge that Andrea Constand had put out that he had digitally penetrated her. You can look that up. He essentially said there wasn't enough in the case, that if he tried to take it to trial, he wasn't going to win. So as a result, he said, well, listen, let me make a deal with you. Cosby's lawyers were smart. He said, I'll give you a deal essentially which gives him immunity from further charges moving forward. He said, the only thing is you have to make yourself available for a deposition, a series of 4 depositions, which means that Constant she can file, a civil suit against Bill Cosby. Money had changed hands. Okay, money had changed hands. What's not being said is the issue of Cosby with this deal, which people did not really talk about, happens in the political cycle. So the man who gave Cosby the deal essentially has a new DA, and part of the new DA's appeal, brothers and sisters, is that he's going to get Bill Cosby. That Bill Cosby is a regular person. Now, before I go any further, it doesn't exonerate Bill Cosby. Okay? It doesn't exonerate Bill Cosby. What you're looking at is that there was an agreement, and it was a fix, if you will, a conditional fix of the law. Hey, Bill, you don't have to go to prison, but you still may get sued. So they couldn't give him both things. He didn't want both things. Bill Cosby is worth probably estimated over $400 million. If I give you $20 million, I'm okay, right? And I think it should be, and look it up, but I believe that he had a civil agreement, a settlement with Andrea Constand. Because if you look at some of the stuff in the deposition, he spoke to her mother, and you read the deposition when she talked about she was upset about what happened. Cosby spoke to her mother and offered money for education. It's a weird type of deal. Okay, it's a very weird type of deal we're talking about. But here's the deal. There's an agreement between she and Cosby. Effectively, this thing was closed. Again, it doesn't exonerate him. I'm telling you the merits of the agreement. not the merits of Bill Cosby. It's the merits of the agreement that allowed this thing not to move forward in terms of a criminal case. If you go back and remember, they opened up the deposition. That was number one. They opened up the deposition and they made the deposition public. And his admission to plying women with drugs for the purpose of sex, that's what he admitted to in a deposition. Even though he knew he could incriminate himself, because when you get this deal that he got, you lose your Fifth Amendment. You lose your Fifth Amendment. But what he didn't think about, and what nobody was thinking about, was that this new DA was somehow going to flip the whole thing. Stick with me here. Flip the whole thing and take testimony that he thought was going to be private and use it for a public case. So there are a lot of bad players in this thing. There's the original district attorney. There's a new district attorney. Some argue Andrea Constand, even though she's a victim, she's a bad player. And of course, Bill Cosby is a bad player. But let's not move from that. Now, my point is, I'm not here to disparage anybody about Bill Cosby. Listen, I'd be a liar and a total hypocrite if I didn't tell you as a kid, I really like Bill Cosby. I listened to his albums. I'm a comedian, for crying out loud. And even though I had kind of a rude interaction with him in Philly, I was like, man, he's an older brother. He's Bill Cosby. And I let it go. My problem with Bill Cosby, and let the record show what I'm about to say. My problem with Bill Cosby is knowing that you did these things. Knowing that you did these things. You allowed good Black people in the Black community to put their reputations out there to defend you, knowing they couldn't defend the indefensible. Shout out to a whole lot of people. A lot of people supported Cosby. And my point here is that you used them, Bill. You used folks. You played on their emotions. You know what you did. One of the lowest points, brothers and sisters, in this whole debacle is having to listen to a deposition where Cosby says, yes, these are what I was going to use the drugs for, because if he's found, he lies, then he has to go to jail. He has to be 100% honest. But he didn't say that to folk. And he let people go out and put their reputations on the line, knowing that you've done a bad thing. Okay, who we got here? Adam Kahn. Larry Wilmore was proclaiming Bill Cosby's guilt nightly on the show whenever Larry thought he should have given Bill the position. Well, here's the story. And if you're in Hollywood, forget being in Hollywood. The Bill Cosby that people say, the monster, the power guy, that's been around for years. It's been around for years. So the Harvey Weinsteins and Hugh Hefners and stuff like that, they lived a certain lifestyle. And that lifestyle in the Hollywood circuit gave them immunity. The issue with the Bill Cosby is he took it outside of the Hollywood space and tried to make it something that was much more broad and much more accepted. Hey, Bill, you can't do it. And let it be known, brothers and sisters, that this process, if you will, this particular process of which we speak, bears out something. It bears out the fact that this set of laws is not for everybody. This grouping of decisions of DAs and prosecutors, it's not for everybody. And here's something you should know. For all you people that holler and scream about critical race theory, every once in a while, white privilege is not used for white people. And the people who have white privilege choose who they lend that privilege to. Bill Cosby is he was one of them. We want to say he's one of us, but he was one of them too. And when push came to shove, as much as we talk about America's dad, and we look to Bill Cosby be a stand-up guy, took a deal. He took a deal. Even, brothers and sisters, if he said, I'm not guilty of these things, I'm going to stand on the truth. He didn't stand on the truth. By a series of coincidences, things called statute of limitations, he was able to play this thing out. Now, what's the flip side of this? Bill Cosby was the poster boy for the Me Too. He was the poster boy for the Me Too movement. And a lot of people, men and women, got Me Too'd. They lost their reputation. They lost, of course, the standing in the community. Some of them lost their freedom. And the reason they went through that is because they didn't have that privilege, if you will. You know, there's a thing about when somebody accuses you of a crime, right? They accuse you of inappropriateness, and it's a conversation. The problem is you can't stop the conversation. I can't stop 2 or 3 people from speaking about something, whether it's true or whether it's not true. Dig what I'm saying? Because sometimes people will put things out there, they don't know the facts. And so they're out there ruminating on what they think something is, or what they heard something is. And sadly, somehow people, I think out of guilt and out of shame, they try and frame that thing and fashion it and mold it into, here's the truth. Too many times, people have gone through that process. And I'm saying innocent people, because the thing I'm most upset about with this whole thing and the justice system in Philadelphia is the exact opposite thing has happened, where people who were innocent wound up downtown at that funky jail for years. For years. All the great efforts, all the prisons around Philadelphia. Thank God for the new DA who says, hey, man, we made mistakes. He's the first guy in a long, long time to say, hey, listen, this judicial process is corrupt. We got to call ourselves our own BS and look at cases whereby a person is clearly innocent. But instead, we're going to look at this case. We're going to argue the merits of it in the media and on social media, because you know it's going to be on social media. We're going to argue the merits of this case, and we're not going to be able to do a damn thing about it. You are not going to change the ruling. You are not going to shame Bill Cosby into going back to prison. You're not going to shame the DA that gave him that deal, and you're not going to shame the DA that rejected the deal or removed the deal. You see, because people don't understand law enough. Some people do understand law. Some people don't understand law enough. See, now law enough is to understand that people can get in a room and you can argue aspects of a law or ruling, and you can find the minutiae and you can pull that string and make it do what you want to. This is no different. Let me be even clear. Walaikum assalam to Brother Katuk, Brother Eric. Good to see you on the show. Let me make this even clear. Bill Cosby was free for a number of years. He was walking around free for a number of years. Only with the aspect that the new district attorney said, we got to get this woman back in here to open this thing up before the statute comes, which is built on the fact that all the other cases, the 50-some other cases, if you will, they were no good. They couldn't be prosecuted because of the statute of limitations. So what are we saying here? Maybe we need to remove the statute of limitations. So maybe people think that if they do something wrong, they just can't wait out the clock. Maybe that's one. But I think number 2 is we need to call into question what are the levers and instruments that people are using These are taxpayer dollars, brothers and sisters. These are taxpayer dollars. And people make that decision. People say this is okay. It was a sweetheart deal. Call it what it was. It was a sweetheart deal. And it's a weird rage that harkens us back to when OJ was found guilty. Found innocent. I'm not going to go into the merits of OJ, brothers and sisters, but there were a lot of people who were upset. They were outraged. But what they didn't say was, we're mad that the system worked for him. We're upset that the system worked for him. This is supposed to be our system. You use it for him. So Bill Cosby pretty much had, gotta say, he had a blueprint. Now, here's the funny part: the blueprint ain't come from black folk. We don't have a blueprint to be able to go in and talk to a DA to get immunity for what we did. We don't have that blueprint. I'm looking around. I don't have a blueprint here. Maybe look around your house, see if you got it. But the thing that can't be overlooked, you're now about to have a very, very large discussion. And this discussion comes after everything you've done. This may be one of the biggest events since Derek Chauvin was sent to prison. This may be it, because it's really, I believe, going to rearrange a lot of DNA in terms of legal procedures. And I also think that people are going to start doing their homework. This is not the first time that Bill Cosby was brought up on this stuff. There were a lot of breadcrumbs, brothers and sisters, a whole lot of breadcrumbs. Autopsy says there's no statute of limitations for criminal charges in Canada. I believe that. But there were a whole lot of breadcrumbs, brothers and sisters. And let me throw this out here, because there was a lot of conflicted feelings, because Bill Cosby did a lot of good things. On the philanthropy side, did a lot of things. I remember the $1 million he gave the Fisk University, and he used to wear the HBCU sweatshirts, and I remember getting a sweatshirt because Bill Cosby had a sweatshirt, and different world, and da 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 da. But it never, ever, ever erases who you are in terms of your character. So Bill Cosby, you should know, and the DAs should know, that you have committed yourself to a bit of a farce. And we all see you for what you are. You see that new DA, the only reason he really locked up Bill Cosby, because he knew that was the one thing that could get him elected. And once he got elected, instead of saying, hey, this is the deal, he literally broke the law. He denied the man his due process. Am I happy about the fact that Bill Cosby got an agreement for this stuff? No. I'm not happy. If you're a human being, you have a shred of decency in your body, you're not happy. But here's the other part. How many people got this kind of deal that weren't Bill Cosby? How many politicians have gotten this deal? How many big corporate CEOs have gotten this deal? How many entertainers have gotten this deal? How many athletes have gotten this deal? Don't be mad, brothers and sisters. Don't kill the messenger. The fact of the matter is, as we speak right now, another deal just like Bill Cosby has been signed off on. Think about it. We have a brother who tremendous basketball player, champion, all-star. Loved this game. Just got hired as the coach of the Portland Trail Blazers. But in 1997, his rookie year, there was a charge of sexual assault against him. And he paid in a civil suit. No charges were brought, but he's paid in a civil suit. Hey, I like Chauncey Billups, and I'm like, I don't know what happened. And here's the deal. I don't know what happened, but, and it's easy to say, hey, listen, but you settled a civil suit. And I used to be like, that must mean that you did it. A lot of times I just realize now it's an easier route. Guys want to get it away from them because the longer it goes, if you're innocent, if it goes longer, people are going to think you're guilty, or worse, the legal system is going to juxtaposition. So now you are guilty. So now you are back in court. Now you are in front of a judge. And it literally has nothing to do with justice, brothers and sisters. This Bill Cosby thing has nothing to do with justice. And here's why it has nothing to do with justice. Because 50 some women will go to sleep tonight in a state of turmoil, feeling and experiencing that justice did not work for them in the most violent of ways. And somehow, someplace, there's no recourse for them to have peace about what happened to them. There's no settling moment. There's no aha moment. You know, that has been ripped from the shred of the legal profession. And why would you even trust anybody? You know, why would you even go through that? The women who went and gave this testimony and lawyers, they are heroes, brothers and sisters. They're heroes. They went out there despite what everyone was saying, despite, oh, you're lying, despite all of that. And they bared their souls and they told their stories. And at this point in time, with this ruling and this situation of Bill Cosby being released, let's be honest, they don't feel like they've been heard or seen. That's our show for today. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. I'll give a shout out to our sponsor, BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. Again, that's BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. You can give them a call at 888-496-6845. Again, that's 888-496-6845. Give a shout out. Got a new logo coming out. Check them out as well. Okay, we also want to give a shout out to Bayan Islamic Graduate School. Again, that's Bayan Islamic Graduate School. If you're thinking about getting a quality graduate level education, check out Bayan. You know, people say, you know, what I have to lose? A lot, actually. You need to go check them out because they are becoming a pioneer. Their program for Master's in Divinity, Master MDiv, what they call a Master's in Divinity, to be a chaplain it's a worldwide leave. That program is the only one of its kind throughout the world. Check them out on that. Islamic studies, Islamic leadership. I mean, they have it all. Islamic education. That's what I got. So, brothers and sisters, make sure that you are checking what's going on. My mom said, "Black man, it got too big." Yeah, it's that monster. You know, when I think of Bill Cosby, I'm going to tell you the story I thought of Bill Cosby, the movie that it reminded me of. It actually reminded me of Paul Robeson and Emperor Jones. Because Paul Robeson gets away with killing his friend over a dice game. And he goes to this island where he's basically treated like a slave. And he gets power over the slave. Oh, he gets power over his master, over the guy who owns him, for lack of a better word. And then he runs the kingdom. And then he's a total tyrant. But my point is, you know, he thought that this didn't matter over here. And I'm just saying that it didn't change his character. It did not change his character. So that's our show for today, brothers and sisters. Stay blessed. Hope to see you again. You know, take a break from the TV if you can. Take a break from the news. Take a break from the social media. Call somebody and check on them, make sure they're doing okay. You know, let's get back to life that matters. All right. That's going to be our theme time. Let's get back to life that matters. Okay. That's me. It's Preacher Moss. Shout out show. Have a great evening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.